The hotel lobby was almost empty, the kind of quiet that feels heavier after midnight. Rain tapped softly against the tall glass windows, and my shoes squeaked on the marble floor as we walked to the front desk. It was supposed to be a simple business trip. 1 conference. 2 days. That's it. Then the receptionist looked up from her screen and said the words that changed everything. "I'm sorry," she said, forcing a polite smile. "Due to an overbooking, there's only 1 room left." I laughed awkwardly, thinking she was joking. My boss didn't. She just stood there, silent, her fingers tightening around the handle of her suitcase. Then she leaned slightly toward me and said, almost in a whisper, "Only 1 room left." For a second, neither of us spoke. I offered to sleep in the lobby. On a chair. On the floor. Anywhere. She shook her head. "It's past midnight. There's nowhere else nearby." The receptionist slid the keycard across the counter, clearly uncomfortable. "1 king bed," she added. The elevator ride was painfully quiet. I stared at the glowing numbers above the door, counting each floor, trying not to think about how wrong this felt. She stood beside me, arms crossed, staring straight ahead. Professional. Calm. Distant. At least, that's what I thought. Inside the room, the lights revealed exactly what we feared. 1 bed. 1 blanket. 1 very awkward silence. "I'll sleep on the couch," I said quickly. She hesitated, then nodded. "Fine." I lay there fully dressed, staring at the ceiling, listening to the rain and the soft hum of the air conditioner. Minutes passed. Maybe an hour. Then I heard her voice. "Are you awake?" "Yes," I said, instantly. She sat up on the bed, pulling the blanket tighter around herself. "Can I ask you something, honestly?" My heart started pounding. "Sure. Do you know why I asked you to come on this trip instead of anyone else?" I swallowed. "Because I handle the reports best." She let out a quiet laugh. Not sarcastic. Sad. "That's what I told HR." She stood up and walked toward the window, looking out at the rain-soaked city. "The truth is, I trust you. More than anyone at work." I didn't know what to say. She continued, her voice softer now. "I've been pretending I have everything together. The job. The confidence. The authority." She paused. "But tonight. I'm exhausted." Something in her voice broke. I sat up slowly. "You don't have to be strong all the time." She turned to look at me, really look at me, like she was seeing me for the first time. "That's what scares me," she said. "You see me." The room felt smaller. Warmer. Closer. She sat on the edge of the bed again, rubbing her hands together nervously. "Nothing inappropriate," she said quickly. "I just didn't want to be alone tonight." I hesitated, then stood up and sat on the far edge of the bed, leaving space between us. Respectfully. For a long moment, we just sat there in silence. Then she leaned over, and rested her head on my shoulder. I froze. "Just for a minute," she whispered. I nodded, even though she couldn't see it. That minute turned into several. Her breathing slowed. The tension drained from her body. And in that quiet hotel room, something shifted, not desire, not scandal, but understanding. By morning, she was already awake, dressed, and back to being my boss. At breakfast, she smiled professionally and said, "Thank you for last night." No one ever knew what happened. But from that day on, everything changed. She promoted me 6 months later. Not because of what happened in that room. But because she knew exactly who I was when it mattered most.